guys, Rachybop here. Welcome to this week's episode of Sims Saturday. Today I'm going to be talking about all the information from the live broadcast that we had this week. This live broadcast was just based on Into the Future expansion pack for The Sims 3, and it was like a little extra broadcast because they kind of messed up the Into the Future bit on the previous ones, so they were very kind and rescheduled another one to focus in depth on the Into the Future expansion pack, and they did a really good job of showing it off. It went really smoothly as well, which is rare for a Sims live broadcast. So this particular broadcast was with King and Sim Brit, and King we haven't seen for a while. He's really awesome. They worked really well together on screen, and yeah, maybe he's the reason it went smoothly, I don't know, but they did a great job. They started off by showing us the world, and if you want to see what we talked about in the previous live broadcast, more about the world and things, you can click here. You can also see my trailer breakdown for Into the Future. You click here. So there was turbines, which were really cool. There was a lot of like unexpected stuff in this, things that I had no idea about, and they were just like, oh, there's this and there's this, and you were like, whoa, hang on, that's amazing, take my money. And then they called this other little area downtown, which was kind of cool. I don't know why, it's just cool. And they were just showing us around. There was hover taxis, hover cars, hover scooters, and I also noticed in this broadcast they had a really nice screen set up with the green screen, and they were showing the gameplay, but you could see them down at the bottom. It's really cool, I liked it. So then they showed us the Mall of the Future, which is what we see in the trailer with like the holographic screens. You can buy things here, use things here, and you can also take things you buy and use here back to your present day world. You choose the items on this like table. It's like a plinth with a holographic items that you can swipe through and select. It kind of makes me think of Japan. I've never been to Japan, but this expansion pack is what I imagine Japan to be like. They should call it Sims 3 Into Japan. So when the sim that they were using went on a hoverboard, she was really wobbly and kept falling off, because that's an actual skill, and it's one that you can build up, and your sim will get better in time and you can advance. If you're learning things like that in the future, you'll advance faster than you would trying to learn them back in your home world. So back to what I said about the pedestals, they have object and clothing pedestals where you can choose things on the holographic displays. That's me swiping through them. And they also have mannequins stood on these pedestals that will pop up in the clothing items that you may or may not want to purchase. They were kind of freaky. Then they showed us the Nuts and Bolts Emporium, and this is where you can buy plumb bots. You can buy the parts for your plumb bots, and you can work on your skill, all sorts of things here. It's run by bots as well, and it also has display stands. The plumb bots are pre-programmed with different chips. And then they showed us Creator Bot mode, which we've seen briefly. We've seen it in the trailer, and they touched on it a little bit in the last broadcast. You can create trait chips for your plumb bots. This is like a new language. You can have a cleaning trait chip. They can simulate emotion. They do have the capacity to love. You will need pieces in order to make the chips. That kind of reminds me a little bit of a Facebook game. You got to collect all the little bits to make this one thing, and then once you've made it, it pops up, and then you can use that. And yeah, it's good because it gives you more of a purpose within the game, which is one of the things that really bothers me in the Sims games, and why I really love the expansion packs, because they give you such a purpose. And again, you've still got your freedom of play, but you can give yourself a little purpose should you need it. So to survive, the needs of a plumb bot are battery power, maintenance, social, and fun. You can adjust their trait chips, and you keep these chips in your inventory. There's 7 trait chips to unlock. Humans and plumb bots can flirt a little. They can change moods, and they have socials, as in social interactions. If you're on a specific mood, like a sad emotion, they showed us this, they can have a different interaction. They can do something called Have a Good Cry, and they showed the plumb bot like opening his heart and crying onto this sim. And then another interaction was that the plumb bot could give the regular sim a massage, but when he turned him round, he just sort of shook him. which looked quite horrific, but actually got a good mood look from that. I did ask if we could have bot babies. I think a lot of people were asking this question as well, and unfortunately you can't have bot babies. There's also a blog as well that you can read on the Sims 3 website, sims3.com. If you go into the newsfeed, there's a blog on there at the moment, and it is really in depth with heaps of stuff they didn't mention in the broadcast. So definitely go check that out if you're interested in this expansion pack. Of course you are. Why would you be watching this video if you weren't? So then they began the Q&A section. They talked about the time portal, which we've mentioned before. They also mentioned a time almanac, I think it was called, which was kind of like a guide, a sim that guides you to the future, I think. Someone asked, do plumbots live forever? Do they sleep and do they need food? Plumbots do not sleep, but they need charging. And they showed the plumbot going into this like round station and these pulses going up and down. It had like a battery bar that was becoming full. Plumbots don't need to eat, although there is a new item called the future bar, and they're going to have a cool interaction with that. And also plumbots do not age, although they can have accidents, so look after your plumbot because they can die. That would break my heart. You can trade chips at the Nuts and Bolts Emporium and you can get solar power and efficiency upgrades. You can also get a Robo Nanny chip. You are not limited to how much time you spend in the future, you can stay there as long as you want. Another thing they mentioned is you can actually make money from the plumbot, so should you buy a really cheap plumbot and then go around and find the chips and upgrade it and look after it, you can actually sell it back to the Emporium and make a bit of cash, so that could be something fun if you wanted to do that. You can also have a bot workshop at home, you don't have to be in this Emporium. And one cool thing that they mentioned really briefly was that bots can actually get power from household items. I can just imagine the bot like walking up to the coffee maker and being like, that would be so funny to me. Maybe it's just me. So then they talked about other expansion packs, like people always ask about the other expansion packs working with this one. Main one being seasons, yes it will work with seasons. And they also mentioned about pets. Now I didn't say much about this, but I think they're going to reveal more in the future. In the future? Like the expansion? Yes. Something to do with digital pets. All I can think is that when your pets go into the future, they are like holograms. I don't know, I'm just speculating, but that would be amazing. They could have little digital pet babies. Or maybe they'd like come with Tamagotchis that you have in your pocket. I don't know. I don't know, but either way, that's going to be good. And with what they're bringing out now, they seem to be really integrating with pets. If you look at Movie Stuff Pack, they were encouraging you to get pets for the horses, for the cowboys, cowgirls, whatever. Not going to be sexist. And now they're encouraging us to get pets to get more from this into the future expansion pack, so it's kind of interesting why they're doing that. Okay, and then they went on to mention Gamescom again. 22nd is a joined live broadcast of Into the Future and The Sims 4, and they're going to be revealing stuff. So that's going to be our next live broadcast. So definitely tune into that. Let me know your thoughts about Into the Future. Are you going to be purchasing it? Have you already pre-ordered? Are you excited? What do you think digital pets means? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and enemies, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, guys.